There is actually a Dark Tower movie coming out, right? I didn't imagine it. So, my friend Ryan mentioned to me today, and it struck me as really odd. He mentioned that the movie The Dark Tower is currently scheduled to hit theaters in about 4.5 months. My immediate response was, really? That soon? I think in my head I had assumed it wasn't coming out till the fall, maybe September, October even, do a Halloween push on it. But no, it's still scheduled for July. Now that's moved back from a previous release date that it had, but it's still there. And the reason that strikes me as odd is we haven't seen much on this thing yet. I mean, I just to make sure that I wasn't like imposing unrealistic expectations for a marketing push on this thing, I took a quick look at the other major releases for July, and it's Spider-Man Homecoming, and it's War for the Planet of the Apes, and it's Dunkirk, and even Valerian and the what the heck is it? Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets, I think is what it's called. The Luc Besson thing that's coming out. All of those have had, if not full-on trailers, they've had some degree of teaser, some kind of footage, some kind of something come out, and Dark Tower kind of has nothing, and it kind of gets me nervous. And I should explain, I'm not overly invested in The Dark Tower. I haven't read the books. So my own personal investment on this thing is pretty low, but it was a big, ambitious thing. And I don't like the feel that I'm getting that this big, ambitious, bold move with a really phenomenal 2 leads cast in the thing, because it's got Matthew McConaughey and Idris Elba, is quietly falling apart. I mean, this thing was not cheap to make, and again, they haven't canceled this yet. Theoretically, there's supposed to be a accompanying TV series next year, and there's been no word on that. So I've got a couple of thoughts on what might be going on. One possibility is that they're behind schedule and they're going to bump it again to even later, and they just haven't announced the new date yet. That's possibility number one. Possibility number two, whatever has been created so far that the studio, Columbia Pictures, which is owned by Sony, whatever that they've seen, they have a strong dislike for, and they're just going to let this thing quietly die in the theater. That's a possibility. Another possibility is that regardless of the actual quality of the film, they don't have the marketing budget to really put it behind this, because Columbia and Sony, they had a real bad 2016, and 2017, they've got one sure thing in the form of Spider-Man Homecoming, but I don't know if they actually have to profit share with Marvel on that. They might not. I'm pretty sure that hasn't been made public. But definitely that thing sells itself. I mean, last year, they did okay with some of their mid-budget stuff, like Sausage Party, The Shallows, but their big stuff, their tentpole stuff, Passengers, Ghostbusters, it didn't do great, and I wonder if they're second-guessing what they want to put a ton of money behind. And Dark Tower, given that they placed it in a blockbuster, slot in terms of when it's being released, it's a bit of a tough sell as a blockbuster, because it's dark and it's literary, and it doesn't lend itself necessarily to the kind of whiz-bang stuff that is normally associated with a big tentpole blockbuster. And that might be the other thing. It might just be that they don't know how to market this thing, regardless of whether or not they're prepared or are able to put much money behind the marketing of it. And that's not me implying that Sony or Columbia Pictures is somehow broke, but in the wake of what a big push they put behind something like Ghostbusters, they might be reassessing how much money they want to put behind the marketing pushes, and or which movies they want to do it for. I hope that we get something soon, whether it's a trailer or announcement of a new release day or just something, because it seemed like a really interesting project, and I'm afraid it's just going to get swept under the rug. Again, I don't know that for certain, but it's just a vibe I'm getting right now, and hope it's not the case. So The Dark Tower, what do you think's going on with this thing? Whatever it is, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check me out on Twitter at Council of Geeks. Give a listen to the Council of Geeks podcast, available on iTunes and Stitcher. And until next time, this council is adjourned.